What's up, college football fans, quarterback fans? Welcome to the QB Spotlight video. In this video, we're talking about Texas versus OU. We're going to do a breakdown over each quarterback, what each quarterback needs to do, and the keys for each quarterback to have success against these defenses coming up. If this is your first time tuning into the QB Spotlight channel, sincerely thank you for tuning in. We know there are a lot of really good college football content creators out on YouTube, so thanks for spending some time with us. QB Spotlight is just a big quarterback hub. We spend time talking all things quarterbacks, specifically the college football quarterback position. So with that said, let's get into it. Let's start with the recap. Or not the recap. Let's start with the preview of Texas and OU. And let's go Quinn Ewers first, right? Just for the simple fact, he had a huge game against OU last year, and they're ranked slightly higher. So let's talk Quinn Ewers first. And before we talk about his keys and what he needs to do to have success against Oklahoma, let's talk about Oklahoma's defense and talk about what they've been able to do and the success they've been able to have. And if you look at Oklahoma's defense and Texas defense, or hell, just both teams, if you look at the power rankings, you look at actual rankings and just how their offenses rank, their defenses rank, they're really similar to each other. So I expect a really good game. But with that said, Oklahoma's defense, the three best teams Oklahoma's faced so far, Cincinnati, Iowa State, and SMU. They probably have the best three defenses. Neither of those offenses are great. Excuse me, they have the three best offenses that Oklahoma's faced. Neither of those offenses are great. Still, legit offenses though, and the most any team has scored in Oklahoma is 20, and that was Iowa State last week. Big takeaways from Oklahoma's defense: lots of pressure. Already over 100 total pressures. Pressures include hurries, sacks, anything to disrupt the passer. Already 100 in total of those this season so far, with 11 sacks. And they've been able to force 10 interceptions already, right? So you can kind of tell the pressure that they've been able to get is leading to interceptions. They're only giving up 212 pass yards a game and barely over 100 yards rushing a game. So this Oklahoma defense is pretty stout. You can tell it's taken a step from last year. They're really kind of coming into their own, essentially, under Coach Venable. So I think they're going to get a pretty good defense that Texas is facing, that Quinn Ewers is facing. Again, pass rush, pressure, and forcing interceptions have been kind of their MO in these first few games. Not first few games, I guess first 5 games, right? So with that said, what are the keys for Quinn Ewers? What does he need to do to have success against this type of defense? Where I think it's kind of what he's been doing this past season. That's kind of using his legs, right, to his advantage. Using that new athleticism, essentially, to his advantage. I think that can slow down the pass rush. And I'm not even necessarily talking about running. Yeah, I think maybe you can call some plays, or he can have a few scrambles and use his legs. But I'm talking more about moving within the pocket, right? I'm talking about more what we've seen as of late, where he's, he's scrambling but not looking to run, scrambling, looking to throw. You've seen him do that, more and more as of late, especially this season. So I think that new athleticism, for lack of a better term, is a good way to slow down this pass rush, using his legs. Maybe some partial rolls. We saw some of that against Kansas, where it's like a little half roll. The offensive line set up pass protection on one side of the field, and he's able to get the ball out quickly. So I think using those legs is going to be another key for Quinn Ewers. And he's already in. And I know I mentioned more so within the pocket, but I would expect to see him run the ball a little bit against Oklahoma. I mean, with the long touchdown run that he had against Baylor, against Kansas last week, he's shown that it's a legit key he can use now. He already has 5 rushing touchdowns this year. Last year he had 1. Right, so I think that's a huge improvement. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him use his legs more running, but also, of course, just in the pocket and moving in the pocket. That's what's really stood out to me about him so far. Key number 2. Continue to do well against the blitz. He's been really, really good against the blitz. They haven't had a ton of pressure on him, or at least Texas hasn't given up a ton of pressure. 20% of his dropbacks have ended with pressure some way, shape, or form. But I think to continue to do well against the blitz, if OU does blitz and does try to get pressure, which I think they will do, against the blitz, he's 43 of 60 for 499 yards and 6 touchdowns. Those are outstanding numbers against the blitz. Now, just because he's doing well against the blitz doesn't mean he does well against pressure, right? You can send people, you can blitz a backer or a DB and not get pressure. So all that's doing is creating space for Ewers to throw to, but he's been excellent against the blitz. Some quarterbacks aren't very good against the blitz, even if there's no pressure. The fact someone coming kind of messes with them, but Ewers has been fantastic. So continue to do well against the blitz. Again, 43 of 60, 499 yards and 6 touchdowns against the blitz. If you can get the ball out quick, then those blitzes won't, lead to pressure. All right, key number 3, which has to do with the run game. I think you obviously want to get the run game going. But if the run game can get going, which it has in the past, and the run games look great, then you can continue to use the play action. Excuse me. Something that OU does well, just like Texas, is they use the play action. And excuse me, can't talk. But Quinn Ewers has been very, very good on play action. 49% of the pass plays have come off play action. So if Oklahoma can stop the run game, that's going to negate the play action. That's going to limit the passing scheme, essentially, if OU can stop the run game. So a big key for Texas, get the run game going so you can execute your play action. Six of Quinn's 10 touchdown passes have come off of play action. So they like to throw off play action. A lot of the passes are off play action. So again, if you're Texas, if you get the run game going, you can continue to use play action. OU is going to try to stop the run game, obviously, but then that will help the play action not be as successful or effective against that defense. So if you're Quinn, I think if you're Longhorns, develop some play action early, get the run game going early, and hopefully that leads to success for them. All right, what are a few more keys? I think another interesting stat, maybe not necessarily a key, is a success that Quinn has had throwing inside the numbers, throwing the middle of the field. So he has 1,358 yards passing total. Of those 1,358 yards passing, 1,054 are inside the numbers. So he's killing defenses inside the numbers, just darting them inside the numbers, right? Just the past few games especially, you've been able to really see that. And so I think OU, it's interesting, right? Is OU going to try to take that away, try to force him to throw outside the numbers? He has the ability to do that if it's taken away, but an easier throw into the numbers is a much easier throw. It's closer. So if the defense is going to give that to you, then he's going to take it. So I just think that's kind of an interesting stat that so many of his passing yards are inside the numbers. Now quarterbacks are going to throw more inside the numbers and outside the numbers, but usually it's not like that big of a difference as far as what Ewers is. That's not a bad thing by any means. The defense has given him those type of passing lanes, and he's taken it. So it's going to be interesting to see if OU takes away the middle of the field. They try to. They even care about that, or not. So this is interesting. Another interesting stat for Ewers, and one more kind of key. Maybe not a key. Maybe I pose this as a question. Does Texas need to take vertical shots? Do they need to hit vertical shots to win against Oklahoma? They haven't really had to take vertical shots to win besides the Alabama game. I think Texas has the advantage. The receivers are some of the best receivers in the nation. You got several NFL guys catching balls from Quinn. So I think you have the advantage there if you want to take those deep shots. Now, Quinn's only 4 of 19 with balls thrown more than 20 yards in the air. But several of those completions came against Alabama and were touchdown throws. So just because you haven't had a ton of success pushing the ball downfield, one, doesn't mean you can't, because you had that success against Alabama, and two, if the offense doesn't call for it, it's maybe not needed as much. Against Baylor, you had 38 points. You didn't need to take shots downfield. Against Kansas, I think you had, I can't remember exactly, you had maybe one downfield, maybe none, I can't remember exactly, but you still didn't need to take a ton of shots downfield. So they've been able to win without doing that. So the question is, do they need to take shots vertically downfield to beat Oklahoma? Let me know in the comments below what you think. But overall, the keys for Quinn, I think it's one, continue to take what the defense gives you, right? And so he's done that using the middle of the field a lot. So if the defense gives you middle of the field, you continue. If they try to take that away, then maybe you throw more outside the numbers. Number two, continue to do well against the blitz. We talked about the numbers that he's put up against the blitz so far. Then number three, using his legs, the first key we talked about. It's been talked about kind of in not a joking matter, but people are like, wow, Quinn, everyone's talking about how athletic he is and he's able to use his legs, and that's true. And I think he can do that to his advantage, but not even in the run game. Yeah, he's probably going to get some yards on the ground, but I just think some partial rolls, able to use his athleticism in the pocket to buy time, to find open receivers, I think is an even bigger key for Quinn Ewers. So with that said, let's transition to Dillon Gabriel. Let's transition to maybe what the Texas defense is going to pose, and talk about the Texas defense, and then talk about what Dillon Gabriel needs to do to have success against this Texas defense. And like the Oklahoma defense, Texas's defense is very similar as far as the numbers they've been able to do and how they've been able to play and perform. They're giving up less than 200 yards passing per game, less than 100 yards rushing a game, right? And that's come against maybe not the best offenses, but Kansas offense is no joke. Even though they had a backup quarterback, Jason Bean is still a very serviceable, capable quarterback. Baylor's offense, okay, not great, right? Alabama's offense, Jalen Miller hit some big shots against Texas still. So I think Texas defense has played really, really well. You can expect another good showing against Dillon Gabriel. They've only had 6 interceptions, which is still a good amount, not as much as Oklahoma, but where they compare to Oklahoma is they had 15 sacks and 97 total pressures. Including that big W against Bama and other teams that we mentioned. So I think the defenses are fairly similar. They get pressure on the quarterback, even if it doesn't lead to sacks all the time. 15 sacks is still a good amount of sacks. It's more than Oklahoma. Oklahoma had 11. Those are both good numbers, but it's the pressures that kind of stick out to me, with Oklahoma having over 100 and Texas having 97. It's the total pressures that they're able to do and affect the quarterback. So I think it's safe to say there's going to be pressure, or at least the attempt to continue having that pressure on Dillon Gabriel for the Texas defense. So if you're Dillon Gabriel, how do you slow down the pass rush? How do you have success against Texas? Well, it's, in my opinion, and kind of just looking at some film and looking at these numbers, it's kind of similar to Quinn Ewers. I really think there's some similar keys for Dillon Gabriel that we talked about with Quinn Ewers. And there's some differences we're going to get into. Let's talk about the similar keys. Number one, I think, is use your legs, just like we talked about Quinn using his legs. Now, Gabriel may use his legs a bit more in the run game. He's done that historically, right? He's traditionally, in the past few seasons, he's been a better athlete than Quinn, probably. Again, both good athletes, but Dillon Gabriel has used his legs a bit more. The offense has calls for the quarterback to use your legs a bit more. I think you can use your legs to slow down the pass rush, whether that is actually running or just buying time, scrambling, some outside the pocket type throws. But I do think we're going to see him use his legs a bit more. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns on the season so far. Just like we talked about, Quinn has 5, Dillon Gabriel has 4. Again, very, very similar right now. So key number 1, use your play. Key number 2, something we talked about with Texas, is the play action. Is Texas going to try to take away the play action? 58% of Oklahoma's throws are off play action. That's a huge number. And like Texas is right under 50, so they're very high too, right? That's why they're so similar. But can Texas take away the play action? If they try to take away the play action, then they're going to force Dillon Gabriel to rely on passing without the benefit of the potential fake of the run or the run. So I think if you're Oklahoma, if you're Dillon Gabriel, obviously you want to get the run game going like we talked about Texas. You want the play action to be effective. And how do you do that? Well, you got to stay out of 3rd and longs. You got to stay out of traditional passing downs. Even if the run game isn't, lighting the world on fire, if you're 2nd and 7, 3rd and 5, the threat of the play action can still be effective. If you're 3rd and 10, 2nd and 12, whatever, 3rd and 15, whatever it may be, they're not going to really care about the play action. It's not going to pull the defense forward. It's not going to get the defense out of position. So if you can stay out of 3rd and long, so you can stay out of passing downs and just chip away, essentially, those passing plays, the play action plays can still be effective. So key number 2, stay out of 3rd downs or stay out of 3rd and longs. If you get in 3rd and longs, you have to be successful on just straight drop passes, and you want to try to use play action to be effective like you've been doing. And number 3, this is going to be the difference between Gabriel and Quinn, right? We talked about some similarities, several keys they both need to do to have success against the defense. But the biggest difference to me, is the deep passes. Gabriel is 13 of 22 on passes more than 20 yards downfield. Again, Quinn has 4 completions so far. Gabriel has 13 of 20 yards downfield or more. Again, different offenses, not a bad, not a good thing, just different offenses. He's been exceptional on those deep throws. More than a third of his passing yards for the whole season has come on those 13 completions. He has, 1,500 something yards passing. Over 500 yards have come off those 13 completions. So a lot of big plays. He likes to throw those deep plays and have success in the deep plays. So I think with that, Texas obviously knows that. Texas is probably going to try to take that away. So if you're Gabriel, I think hitting on some short to medium throws often and early and consistently can lead to some of those deep passes. Maybe you come out and you take some shots deep, I don't know. But I think some short to medium type throws, those mid-range throws, gets the DBs creeping a little bit, at least in theory, if you're OU. And then you can start taking those deep passes. So I'm not saying you don't want to take those deep shots because it's part of the offense. I think you need to hit on those to have success and to win. But you need to set that up properly, right? You need to have a game plan to execute on that. So again, get the DBs moving up closer, essentially, if you can continue to hit on some short to medium throws, and then you take your deep shots. So that's the overall takeaways, right? The big keys for Dillon Gabriel: use your legs to slow down the pass rush. Try to stay out of 3rd and longs, right? You had a lot of success on play action. If they take play action away, you need to have success without play action. The number 3, you've been exceptional on the deep throws, but use the short to medium throws to set up the deep throws against Texas. So those are kind of the key takeaways for Gabriel against Texas. And we talked about, Ewers' keys. We talked about Dillon Gabriel's keys. So if you're an Oklahoma fan or Texas fan or just a college football fan in general, let us know your thoughts below. What keys did we miss? I know this is probably, a 12-minute video, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But just a few keys for each quarterback that they need to do to have success against these defenses. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts. If you like this video, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing. Again, we're just a big quarterback hub. We do these preview videos. We do recaps. We have several lives throughout the week. And then we have also a podcast where we have quarterbacks and former quarterbacks and coaches and current and former coaches come on and just talk about their quarterback experience. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing. But yeah, let me know your thoughts below, and we will see you next time. Peace.